The battlefield is quiet. A Hittite raiding force is stranded on the Anatolian coast. Their prince, Tarhuzili, lies dead under a collapsed chariot. The enemy is approaching and the tide is rising. They can't give him the burial his soul needs. Then a voice cuts through the surf, not human, not comforting. A siren rises from the blood-red water, smiling like she's seen this 1,000 times. She names the prince without being told and offers a bargain. Give me his soul and I'll return him. Breathing, fighting. Yes, but she wants payment. A sacred meteoric iron weapon, a human voice, and safe passage for her kin in Hittite waters. The warriors argue, refuse, until one steps forward. Anuwanda, the prince's closest friend. He offers his voice and his fate, if she brings the prince back untouched. The siren laughs, agrees instantly. Never a good sign. The sea erupts. Tarhuzili rises from the surf, alive, gasping, confused. But something's wrong. His shadow lags. His heartbeat echoes underwater, and every word he says carries the siren's rhythm. He's alive, but not fully human. Anuwanda loses his voice on the spot, silent, unable to warn anyone. Meanwhile, the siren's real plan unfolds. Her kin migrate into Hittite waters. Fishermen vanish, coastal shrines crumble. And something ancient wakes in the deep. Something she needed the prince's life to unlock. They got their prince back, but the price is only beginning. The prince returned from the dead, but something else returned with him. The Hittite warriors march inland with their resurrected prince. But he walks strangely, like he's listening to something none of them can hear. Anuwanda tries to warn them, but he's voiceless after the bargain. And the prince won't stop glancing toward the sea. That night, the camp wakes to a sound, a heartbeat, deep rhythmic, coming from the prince's chest, but echoing through the ground like it belongs to something enormous underwater. The soldiers panic. He claims he doesn't hear anything. He's lying. The next day, scouts find something disturbing. Schools of dead fish arranged in perfect circles on the shoreline. Symbols, warnings, or invitations. And every time the prince sees them, he stiffens like he recognizes the pattern. Then it escalates. A coastal village claims a pale woman sang a single note, and an entire pier collapsed into the sea. The warriors realize the siren's safe passage wasn't migration. It's an invasion. Anuwanda points at the prince, desperate, gesturing to the sea. Someone else finally voices what no one wants to admit. What exactly did she put inside him? That night, the prince sleepwalks into the surf. Not stumbling, striding as if answering a summons. The warriors drag him back, but his eyes glow faintly, reflecting distant lightning underwater. He whispers a single sentence that chills them. She says the way is open now. Whose way? Open to what? The sea begins to boil. Drums echo from the deep, too slow, too huge to be human. And far offshore, something ancient moves beneath the waves. The sirens didn't revive him. They planted a door inside him.
The prince wasn't resurrected, he was repurposed. The Hittite war band retreats inland, dragging the half-sleeping prince away from the shore. But the further they move from the sea, the sicker he becomes. His skin pales, his veins darken, like his body is tied to something miles off the coast. Anuwanda tries to hold him up, silent, frustrated, helpless. At dawn, the prince coughs up seawater. Not normal seawater, black, dense, full of tiny, shimmering scales. When the liquid hits the ground, it crawls for the nearest stream. The warriors step back. They know contamination when they see it. A shaman from a nearby village approaches. She examines the prince and recoils immediately, not from fear, recognition. Her verdict is blunt. There is a gate inside him, a living channel. It's not metaphorical. Some force is pushing through him like a tunnel between worlds.
She forces the prince to speak a single truth. The Siren Queen can't return unless a mortal carries her threshold. That's why he was resurrected, not as a servant, as an anchor. And every heartbeat he hears is her approaching. The shaman warns them. They have one option: break the connection before the Siren Queen reaches the shoreline. But breaking it will kill the prince instantly. And if they don't, the queen emerges fully with an army behind her. The warriors freeze, loyalty versus apocalypse. Onuanda signs frantically, pointing to himself, offering to take the prince's place if the ritual needs a sacrifice. Before they can decide, the ground vibrates. Not an earthquake, footsteps, massive, rhythmic, coming from the direction of the sea. The Siren Queen isn't waiting anymore. The anchor is active, she's coming through him now. They were too late. The Siren Queen had already started crossing through him. The warriors form a defensive circle around the prince. The ground pulses with every thundering step from the coastline. The air vibrates like a massive voice is humming beneath the earth. The prince screams, not in pain, in harmony. His body is acting as an instrument. His spine arches, his shadow splits in two. One part stays attached to him. The other stretches toward the direction of the sea, long, sharp, wrong. Onuanda grabs the prince, trying to stop the transformation, but the prince whispers, "Don't." She's almost here. Then the first breach hits. A spike of seawater erupts from the prince's chest, not piercing him, forming through him. It bends upward like a column of liquid glass. More spikes follow, shaping a growing silhouette behind him. A body assembling itself from water, shadow, and stolen heartbeat. The warriors can't tell if it's a queen or a monster. The shaman shouts one command, "Break the anchor." They hesitate. If they sever the connection, the prince dies. But if they don't, the figure will complete itself. Onuanda steps forward, placing his dagger at his friend's chest, hands shaking but committed. The prince nods. He actually nods. Before Onuanda can strike, the forming queen reacts. Her half-finished arm snaps out, made of water, bone, and screaming voices, and knocks the entire warband off their feet. She speaks for the first time, "He is mine." He opened the way. Her voice isn't sound. It's pressure. It crushes breath from every soldier's lungs. The queen's form begins to solidify. Eyes like reflective black tide pools, teeth shaped like broken shells. She leans close to the prince and whispers, "Step aside, my anchor. I need the land now." Her army stirs in the water behind her. This is no longer resurrection, it's conquest. The Siren Queen stepped onto land, so the Hittites forced her back the only way they knew, war. She fully emerges, dripping seawater that hisses when it hits the dirt. Behind her, the ocean bulges, shapes moving inside it like an army waiting to be born. The warriors rise, shaking but ready. They know they can't win, but they also know no one else will reach this shore in time. Her first attack is simple, sound. A shockwave of pure vibration slams into them. Bronze helmets ring, blades crack, eardrums tear. Onuanda, voiceless, endures the blast better than the rest and charges straight at her. He strikes, the dagger sinks in, but her body isn't flesh. It's dense water shaped by will. The blade slides through, doing almost nothing, until the prince screams, clutching his chest at the same spot. They're bonded, damage to her bleeds into him. It stops Onuanda cold. The queen moves fast. Her arm becomes a whip of water and bone, smashing warriors aside. One soldier is lifted, crushed, and thrown into the surf. The sea reacts, dragging the body under instantly. It's not just her. Thousands of unseen things are waiting. The shaman finally acts. She plants a spear in the earth, carved with symbols older than the Hittite gods. The ground cracks. A ring of scorched soil forms around the queen, a barrier that slows her connection to the sea. Not stops it, just slows. The queen snarls, voice like grinding reefs. "You insult the tide!" The prince collapses, gasping. The barrier weakens the queen, but it drains him too. He begs Onuanda with what breath he has. "Finish it." And me and her. Onuanda hesitates, blade trembling over his closest friend's heart, while the queen begins smashing the barrier apart, one blow at a time. When the barrier breaks, the sea behind her explodes upward, rows of sirens rising like an army of screaming shadows. The first wave has come. The Siren Queen didn't come alone. The coastline turned into a battlefield. The sea erupts. Dozens, maybe hundreds of sirens haul themselves onto land, not the pretty kind. These are trench-black bone-armored, eyes adapted for killing underwater. The Hittite warriors tighten ranks, outnumbered, exhausted. No illusions about survival. The queen signals, a single gesture. The first wave charges, fast, low, coordinated. The Hittites respond with what they do best, formation warfare. Shields lock, bronze spears stab forward. Not elegant, functional. Bodies pile immediately on both sides. The Sirens adapt fast. They hit the shield wall low, ripping ankles, dragging soldiers down to be finished by the second wave. A Hittite axeman cleaves one open. Its body collapses into black water and tries to reform around his legs. He hacks it apart until nothing moves. This isn't a battle, it's attrition. The queen advances behind her army, absorbing the resonance of every siren death. Each fallen creature strengthens her. The soldiers see it and realize the ugly truth. Killing her army fuels her. But letting them live kills the Hittites faster. No good choice. She's not attacking us, she's clearing space. For what? The queen raises both hands. The ocean responds with a roar that drowns every scream on the battlefield. A colossal shadow rises beneath the waves, far bigger than her. A leviathan, a god? Something older? Whatever it is, she intends to bring it ashore. Large-scale combat was just the opening act. The Siren Queen wasn't the real threat. What she summoned was, the ocean heaves upward. Not waves, displacement. Like something the size of a mountain is forcing the sea aside. The Hittites stop fighting. The Sirens stop too. Even the queen turns her head reverent. Whatever's rising outranks her. A shape breaches the surf. Not fully, just a ridge of bone the length of a fortress. Water falls from it like rain. Then a single eye opens beneath the surface, huge, lidless, deep as a cavern. The shaman mutters one thing, that is no creature. That is a memory of the sea, something ancient enough to predate gods. The Leviathan exhales, the wind reverses. Sand, debris, bodies, everything on the beach drags toward the water. Hittite shields lock into the dirt. Some men are still pulled screaming into the surf. Nuanda grabs the prince and anchors him with his entire body weight. The queen just watches. The queen raises her voice, one resonant command that vibrates through bone. Come through. Claim the shore, the Leviathan obeys. A mandible of stone-hard cartilage emerges, dripping with centuries of silt. If it makes landfall, the coastline collapses. Villages vanish. The Hittites lose the entire region in minutes. The prince convulses. His chest glows with the same pale light forming around the Leviathan's jaw. He realizes it before anyone else. It's using me as the tether. If I break, it crosses fully. The queen hears him and smiles. She isn't hiding the plan anymore. Nuanda makes a decision that terrifies even the queen. He lifts the prince over his shoulder and runs, not away from the battle, but toward the cliffside inland. The queen unleashes a shriek that cracks the soil. She sends her elite sirens after him. If the prince dies anywhere except the water, the tether breaks on land. She can't allow that. Behind them, the Leviathan's full skull emerges, vast, jagged, ancient. It pushes forward. The sea trembles. The shore won't survive the next minute unless someone severs the anchor. Nuanda carries the prince up the cliffside. Behind them, the queen's elite sirens close in, moving over rock as if gravity bends for them. The Leviathan pulses in the water below, tethered to the prince's life force. Every step is agony. The prince convulses, whispering, "If I die, it comes fully. You can't stop it." The first siren strikes. Its bone-armored hand slashes the prince's legs. Nuanda blocks it with a spear, but the force drives them both back several meters. Rocks crumble beneath their feet. They keep climbing. The cliff is the only place the anchor can be broken safely. A second siren lunges from above. Nuanda slams the prince to the ground to dodge, taking the blow himself. The prince screams. Energy flaring, waves ripple back to the sea, rocking the Leviathan violently. The queen watches from the beach. She raises her arms. The tide begins to rise unnaturally, creating a ramp of water for reinforcements. The prince collapses mid-climb, exhausted. A siren leaps and grabs him. Nuanda stabs with all his strength. The blade passes through the siren. Almost nothing happens. But the prince's scream stops everything. The tether pulses violently, rock slides, water surges, and the Leviathan reacts. It's now a race. Kill him too soon, and the sea wins. Arnuanda shouts frantically, gesturing to the shaman below. The anchor, the ritual now. The shaman begins chanting, throwing salt and burning herbs toward the cliff. The cliffside trembles. The queen roars and lunges toward them, screaming. But some of her army falters under the ritual's disruption. The prince struggles, realizing he has to cooperate. With effort, he lifts his hands, glowing faintly, and aligns with the ritual's symbols. The tether begins to sever. The queen screams, her army recoils, but she can't act fast enough. The cliff cracks, the tether wavers. The Leviathan thrashes, massive waves erupt, but it hasn't fully crossed yet. One final push, or everything dies. Everything depends on one final act, breaking the anchor. The prince trembles atop the cliff, glowing pale blue. Arnuanda braces him. The shaman chants faster, throwing salt and herbs into the air. The tether pulse between the prince and the Leviathan vibrates violently. Rocks shatter, waves crash, and the queen screams. The queen lunges one last time, half-formed water limbs thrashing, bone claws swiping. Arnuanda blocks with his spear, shouting at the prince. Now, focus on the symbols. The prince stretches his hands to the ritual circle etched into the cliffside. Energy flows outward, bright and cutting like lightning. The tether snaps. The prince screams pain, release, and fear all at once. The Leviathan thrashes violently, partially surfacing, but it's yanked back into the deep as the connection dies. The queen screams, half-formed, collapsing in the surf. Her body shatters into shards of water, bone, and shadow. Some fragments vanish instantly. Others retreat into the ocean, silent, waiting. The prince collapses, exhausted but alive. Arnuanda catches him. The shaman kneels, chanting softly to seal the cliff, preventing the queen or any tethered siren from returning. The sea calms, for now. The surviving sirens flee into the waves. The battlefield is littered with broken warriors, shattered bones, and scorched earth. The Leviathan's shadow recedes beneath the water, leaving only the memory of its presence. Arnuanda looks at the prince, voiceless, tears streaming. The prince whispers weakly, "It's over, or at least, for now." The ocean is silent, the cliff stands. The Hittites survived, but the cost is written in salt, blood, and shadow. The queen is gone, but the sea remembers. The queen was gone, but some shadows never leave the sea. The battlefield is quiet. The prince and Arnuanda sit among the wreckage. The shaman seals the cliffside with final chants. The tide laps gently at the beach, deceptively calm. But deep below, the water moves unnaturally, like something is stirring. The prince touches his chest, where the tether once pulsed. A faint vibration remains, like a heartbeat beneath his ribs. He whispers to Arnuanda, "She didn't leave, not fully, she's waiting." On the horizon, a lone wave rises without wind. A dark silhouette flickers within it, water, bone, shadow. It vanishes as quickly as it appeared, leaving only fear behind. The surviving sirens in the ocean retreat silently, regrouping. The shaman warns, anchors like this leave echoes. Every sea, every storm. She can hear it. She can come back. Arnuanda grips the prince's shoulder, silent. They realize survival is temporary. The queen's reach extends beyond death, tethered to the deep currents of the world. Villages rebuild along the coast. Ships sail again. But fishermen whisper of strange sounds at night. Voices under the water calling names, promising power, demanding tribute. The prince listens quietly. He knows the tide can rise at any moment. The camera pans over the calm sea. A ripple moves against the current, almost imperceptible. The faint glimmer of bone and shadow beneath the waves. The queen sleeps, but she waits, and the ocean remembers.